Hey there, my name is Pravus, and welcome to more City Skylines in Praetoria. We grew a lot in the last episode. We are now officially a grand city. Though to be honest, it doesn't feel all that grand to me. We're missing a lot of things, and I am not even remotely close to my final goal. So, we got a long way to go, is basically what I'm trying to say. A very long way to go. I did expand out some more of the grid down here by the Solaire sector, so I do plan on continuing to build out the city. We need to grow as fast as we can, and I did open up another interchange up to the highway, which hopefully is going to relieve a bit more pressure off of the highway in this particular region. One area where I'm seeing a lot of traffic issues is actually going to be right here for some reason. I'll be honest, I don't totally understand the reasoning as to why. Because it looks like not all of these are industrial cars. These are a lot of people who just live in the area, and rather than take the obviously faster route down the avenue, have decided we want to go through the factories in order to get to our homes up over here. Dumb. So we're probably gonna have to figure something out here. I could increase the size of the roads, but to be honest, I feel like this is more of an issue of traffic flow than anything. So it's probably time to go ahead and break out the good old-fashioned roundabout. Now, when working on your roundabouts, I find it's often easiest to go ahead and just use some roads, create a quick cross pattern. That way you know you get some nice, even angles for everything, so this could be kind of good. I think I'm going to use asymmetrical roads to try and get up over here. The idea being we'll have two lanes that can go into the roundabout. Let's get rid of these. Shouldn't need that anymore. So this lane will turn into this one will turn into this one, perfect. We just gotta be careful about all of our right turns, you know? Make sure that these are as efficient as is possible. We'll probably do an asymmetrical lane going the same way like this? Question mark? Seems okay. And then something similar going through like this. Okay. I kinda like the look of this. An avenue might make sense right here. We'll consider that. And then I need to get my highway exits figured out once again, because I broke kind of everything. But that's fine. Roundabouts can be a little bit tricky to work with, to be honest. And maybe that's just my Americanism speaking, I don't know. But as good of a system as it is, sometimes in City Skylines it ends up being just a little bit on the awkward side. Just a little on the awkward side, you know what I mean? There we go. And the next thing we do is we're going to use the mod to make sure that anyone who wants to turn right is in the right lane and leaves the left lane open for those who want to go around and get to the next exit. So we'll do something like this, and there we go. So this should be about as efficient as I can make it, at least for the moment. And then these guys are both turning right. That one's turning right. We'll do something similar right here and have you only turning this way like so. So the other one can go straight through. Anything else? I think that's about as good as we're going to get it. All right, let's let her rip. All the cars come flying out of space. There we go. And let's see if this actually clears itself over time. It may take a second. It's sort of clearing up a little bit down here. It's not great. This is the primary issue only because this light is preventing a lot of the cars from getting out of here that need to. But, you know, I don't know how much better we're going to get there, shy of making a much, much larger and more efficient roundabout, so let's just kind of pray that that ends up working for a little bit. Down over here, we're starting to build out more of the zones in the Solaire district. Should have power more or less taken care of, so let's go ahead and expand out some more of the residential, plus some more of the offices. Now, something I realized that I messed up in between last videos is I did not raise the taxes on our high-density residential, commercial, and office zones. So even though we're making a pretty good amount of money, I suspect we're about to find ourselves making a fair bit more. So let's enjoy watching that budget go up, which pretty much means I'm starting to enter the realm of sandbox mode, where as long as I'm building out at least semi-intelligently, we're going to be able to do pretty much anything we want with very little consequences. It's going to be pretty fun. I would like to point out that bug again with the farms. I've talked about it for a couple episodes, but I don't think everyone believes me. Notice the production has dropped in half. You know why? Because I reloaded my save in this recording session. So all of a sudden my production's gone, and now we're not producing enough crops, and we're starting to go through some of our stockpile. Weird, right? It doesn't make a lick of sense, and the only way I'm going to fix it is if I completely close out and start over. Anyways, so traffic in this area is looking great, honestly. Having these extra relief valves going into the city has made a pretty significant difference. This is still not doing very good, is it? All right, let me think. What if we did one-way roads? Maybe? Yeah, what if we got rid... But there's still going to be an intersection here no matter what. Trying to think, what could we do as far as some one-way roads in order to make this better? We could abandon this street. And by abandon, I mean literally just close down some of the street so that there's no need for an intersection right there. We'll build this out just a tiny bit. Like, let's say over here-ish. So that the buildings don't have to go away, but no one can make right turns over here anymore, all right? So we get rid of some of that. Then I take this and get rid of it. And then I take a quick little, let's say, one-lane highway road. Will do fine. Well, stupid though they may be, it's sort of resolving itself to a degree. It's not a perfect system. It just really depends on timing out the lights. But once the lights give them a bit of free berth, it does clear itself. And at the very least, the traffic's not backed up all the way to the highway. So I'll consider that a partial victory for the moment, at least until I can think of something a little bit better. How's our zoning going? Pretty well down over here. Not a whole lot of issues. Now, I do think that we're going to find ourselves getting very crowded with our mass transit. If I take a look at, let's say, our metro. How are we doing on this front? For the most part, it looks like we're able to deal with a lot of folks, but there are at least a handful of stops that could use some extra trains. So let's go ahead and boost this up to having at least 3 vehicles. So we can pick up another round of people, and I think that alone will probably be enough to fix that entirely. Then we're going to take a look at the buses, and I'll bet we're going to find a lot more problems here. So let's see. Actually, this line's looking pretty solid. No problem there. What about you? You could use a bit more help. Let's go ahead and boost you up to having at least 16 of the buses, and then for you... Okay, this is where we have a problem. So the loop that I'm currently taking around between Craftward and Solaire, that is exceptionally crowded. We need to think of a better mass transit system here. Is this an option? 4-lane road with tram tracks? I don't remember if this gets in the way of cars or not. I'm looking for a solution that's not necessarily going to get in the way of traffic. So yeah, no, these trams are going to be independent of the roads. So yeah, what we're going to do then is we're going to go ahead and upgrade all of these avenues, at least in one big loop. Kind of like this if I can get in here. Boom, boom, boom. And the idea will be to relieve the pressure on our buses by having a tram system that goes in a big loop between the 2 major metropolitan sectors. That should take care of a lot of the traffic. Okay, so with this big loop completed, we've then extended it off in this direction with a nice little service road down, I guess, Lewis Street, and that's going to create the tram depot. So with the tram depot figured out, we now have the ability to get our trams out to the loop, so I'm going to go ahead and set up some new stops. Let's go for, well, actually, hang on. They need to be somewhat close to crosswalks and stuff, too, don't they? Yeah, I think they do. So we go for something, let's just see how this goes. For something like this... Stop down here. We'll have a stop like every couple of blocks or so. How are we doing? For the most part, we're able to keep up. Each one of these trams can have 90 people, so as we get through, we do pick up a pretty reasonable number of them. There's a lot going on over here, though. At least a couple of these stops in particular are really full. This one right here where it interchanges with the bus. You know, somehow I really shouldn't be too surprised, but okay. The idea, though, is basically our trams are greatly reducing the amount of strain on these buses. Yeah, you can see here we don't have anywhere near as much demand anymore. So this is starting to look a little bit more reasonable. I can pull back a tiny bit on the number of buses that we are currently paying for, and the trams will have to do a lot of the heavy lifting. But that does seem to be a vast improvement, and it's not as beholden to traffic. So it's a win-win across the board for me. Oh, and actually, the Mathematicon Lumberyard just reached level 5. Nice, even more efficiency and some pollution reduction. The modular house factory and a pulp mill. Okay, so I'm guessing the modular house would be considered to be one of the unique factories. Let's just double check that is in fact the case. No, that's the clothing factory. Printing press. There it is. This one requires a bunch of ores. Okay, so we're nowhere close to this one. It needs plastic, glass, and metals. So actually, not even just metals. It requires petroleum-based products. Yeah, we're nowhere close to being able to do this. Still, kind of cool that that is going to be an option for us at some point in the future, so hooray! I don't know how much better a pulp factory is compared to the ones we've got right now, but I'm willing to guess it's a fair bit better. Let's see. Pulp Factory, there you are. Take 6,400 units per week as opposed to 3,200. So it's literally double the powerhouse. Okay, how big is it? It's the same size? Oh, well, in that case, let's get rid of some of this nonsense. I want to process a lot more. And I wasn't even shooting for this, but we are now officially a capital city with a population of 36,000. Awesome. I can now build out my own university campuses. That's kind of cool. We've got access to ships, which means it's definitely time to start looking toward getting a tourism industry up and running. University paths, harbor, cargo harbor. The eco water treatment plant. Excellent. All right, so we'll be able to start using some more environmentally friendly ways of processing a lot of our liquid waste. I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of a bunch of these and replace them with the bigger, better versions of all this stuff. I want to process a whole load of liquid. I want a clean lake, dang it. Clean lakes are so much better. It might be time to consider adding in another quadrant to the city down in this direction. Let's go ahead and plan this out a little differently, though. It's same basic grid pattern and all that. Should be fun, but I'm going to start adding in some more specialized requirements. Specifically, I'm thinking we might turn this into a self-sufficient building zone just for fun. And do we want to go for IT cluster? Requires less workers, consumes more electricity, but also generates more revenue. Really good if you're not sure you're going to have enough workers to go around. Also high-tech buildings, which I like. Let's try that. Why not? That could be kind of fun. And then organic and local produce? Probably not necessary, but I mean, reducing truck traffic and stuff could be kind of fun. Yeah, it reduces garbage, it also consumes more electricity, but I'm all right with that. Let's just give it a go for fun. This is going to be a more specialized area. It's going to look different from the rest of the city. We also should leave a little bit of room for probably another park of some sort. Let's get rid of some stuff right along there. Or maybe we'll make it an extra long park along here. Sure, why not? That seems fine. And what am I going to name it? Great question. Let me consult my patron list. We're going to call it Dunland after my supporter Harrison Dunn. Thank you very much for your support. Here goes that district. All right, so this should end up being pretty interesting and fun for me. A lot of the stuff that they're currently constructing is probably immediately going to get knocked down since I don't think that it's going to comply. Yeah, you can see. Because it changed the specializations before they while they were still constructing, it just gets knocked away. But that's probably going to be fine. So let's see, what kind of services might we need? Well, it wouldn't be a bad idea to go ahead and expand out some of the health and stuff again, so more hospitals, for example. This is going to cost me a lot of money just because we're expanding out the services in a way that's going to require some more redundant firehouses, plus some police stations, so on. But honestly, I think it's probably worth it. We're going to have to make this investment at some point anyway. We might as well do it now. And within this area, let's go ahead and call this Kane Gardens after my supporter, Kane Wraith. Again, thank you for the support. All right, I'll decorate all this in a little bit. Don't you worry. For now, I got a lot of other things to worry about, namely some zoning and stuff. And if we are going to be making use of IT clusters here, I'd really like to make use of that as much as we can, so let's go ahead and place a handful of things along there, trying to keep the offices somewhat following some of the main roads, and then beyond that, yeah, I think just a lot of high-density residential should be fine. We're going to need a lot of people. The buildings are going to look kind of funky in this area, not going to lie. That's just kind of a given, to be honest, though. The green buildings, they're going to have, like, Hanging Gardens of Babylon kind of theme, you know? Actually, I could have called this Babylon Square or something. I don't know. Babylon City? That'd be kind of fun, actually. Well, anyway, the idea, though, is that they're all supposed to be self-sufficient. Lots of solar and so on. Lots of vertical gardens. Wow, that's a tall building. Yeah, this is the thing about IT clusters. They tend to be much more dense, smaller footprinted kind of buildings, and then very, 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 very tall. But look how few jobs they require in order to operate. Very convenient. Of course, we do need to get some additional entry and exit ramps for the highway, which hopefully means people can stop using this so much to try and get into the city, and instead we'll go down the highway over here. Is that too much to hope for? It might be. I don't know. They might be too stupid, but it's okay. Let's just go ahead and make sure we divert some of these lanes so that people only get off in that direction, blah, 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 blah. And it should be fine. Actually, oh, no, wait, I'm sorry. Of course, we're supposed to go ahead and reduce the size of this thing. That's what I mean to do. Let's go ahead and do this. Fun thing about reducing the size of these highways, you don't technically need the mod in order to divert specific lanes if you do this. It kind of automatically gets what you want, right? Case in point down over here, have I used this whole traffic lane control thing? No, but is this exactly what I want? Yeah. So it's a vanilla way of getting the exact same effect. If that's something you might be interested in doing yourself, Just be aware of it. In the meantime, looks like traffic is mostly clearing up over here. Some people are using this highway, but not very many. I did have to turn this avenue into just a tram-only track, because it was turning into quite a roadblock, basically, where too many people wanted to get over toward the highway, and we had a lot of traffic coming this way, instead of using the much larger road over this way, which is kind of what I wanted them to do. So that seems to have resolved some issues over there. Still looking mostly good over here. The traffic can get kind of dense, but as long as the lights continue doing their thing, traffic, for the most part, is able to continue. And everything down over here is just chugging along without any real needs for changing on my end. How is Dunlin doing? Well, we got some pretty darn nice-looking skyscrapers now, don't we? They look great. Hey, these don't look like very green residences. It's self-sufficient? Well, where's the hanging gardens? I promised the people hanging gardens. I'm pretty sure when they upgrade, we might start seeing some of that stuff, but usually these buildings look a little, I don't know, greener than this? I have to admit, Dunlin looks a little, I don't know, shall we say lopsided? All of these organic markets are at maximum level, and they are very small little buildings, you know? I see a lot of healthy weeds. Good lord. Lots of healthy weeds, surrounded by absolutely massive skyscrapers. So it's kind of like, huh. The layering of this is maybe slightly messed up. And yet, I guess I did want to have a little bit of variation in the city, so mission accomplished, I suppose. And once again, without meaning to, I appear to have upgraded again. The colossal city with 48,000 population. Helicopters are now things. Nuclear power plants, cargo hub, ocean thermal energy conversion, floating cafes. Not like you get a whole lot out of this particular upgrade, but I mean, it looks cool for absolute sure. You know something I really wouldn't mind doing? This is probably not the bestest use of my tile, but I was debating, what if we decided to go ahead and buy out a tile over here and start working on my airport? Then again, I wouldn't really have access to the highway. I couldn't control it to the degree that I want. So maybe not, but if not, where should we go? Over here and start exploiting oil, probably. Yeah, let's go ahead and buy out this then. It's time to start working on another industry, probably in the next video. We'll get this set up, get some oil going. We still have the ability to export our goods via rail if we need to. And, I don't know, more goods that we can just use in the city as needed would be great. What's happened? Oh my god, my tram station's on fire! Plus all these trees, too. God, the humanity of it all. Oh, no, not my recycling center! Alright, well, this wildfire appears to be at least a little bit of a problem. Probably should have, like, a helicopter pad for some firefighting or something, but, you know, I'm not really worried about that too much right now. So for the most part, we're looking solid. I'm starting to run lower on power. We might need to take advantage of that nuclear power plant at some point, though I gotta say, the greener sources like a solar updraft tower are still at least a little bit better, in my opinion. Water's getting a little low, but so far we are able to handle that. I probably should go ahead and get some inland water treatment plants if possible, and get rid of some of the pollution that way. Garbage, getting close, but we're kind of getting through there. I'm gonna go ahead and place down a handful, wait. You know, I was gonna place down a handful of garbage collectors, but take a look at this. The eco water treatment that I was working on, the water no longer is disgusting and filthy. Well, beautiful then, so I don't even need to clean up anything. Haha, never punished. Who needs environmentalism? We got this, it's gonna be completely fine. Healthcare, for the most part, looking fine. We should be doing okay on death care and stuff as well. Firefighting, fine. Police, fine. Education, mostly okay, actually. We're getting where I want to go. Yeah, this seems to be doing all right. We got a lot of highly educated people in the city now, by the way. Highly educated people can work lower class, quote-unquote, jobs. That is a thing. But, ideally we want to put them to use in places like IT clusters. That would be even better. Let's see, our transportation is certainly going crazy. The tram line, it turns out, is a phenomenal success. We're probably going to go ahead and put out some more of these tram lines and just keep that going at all times. The metro probably could use an upgrade as well at some point. Let's take a look-see at that. You're at 770. For the most part, no, actually, you know, with the 3 vehicles we have per line, we're actually completely on top of this. So I'll probably want to expand that out to some more sectors over this way. And the next thing we're going to do, probably next video, is expand out an oil field, and over here, A tourism or leisure sector. That's the next thing that we need to be working on. Get a whole new source of income and landmarks and other traffic headaches into this city. Actually, you know what? I take it back. I think we got some time to set up one more industrial zone before we end out this video. I should have enough time, am I right? Now, I keep saying we'll get some oil over here, but I think I'm wrong. That actually might be ore. Let's take a look at natural resources. Yep, it's all ore. Surrounded by extraordinarily fertile farmland, by the way. If you want to have some competitors for the Corgi Butt Farms, that's not a terrible plan. The oil is all down over here. Or, ironically, up over this direction. But okay, ore is fine. I'm happy to get started on a ore plant of some form. So let's go ahead and go to our industrial zones as before. And I don't know if we're going to use both sides of the railway, but let's just go ahead and plan for that possibility. We'll go for something kind of like this. I'm going to use the limitations of the zone itself to make sure that I don't accidentally try placing buildings where there's no ore to be had. This should be okay. All right, so we'll go for something like this. Of course, that means I need to get a name. 1 second. How about the Mr. Tweeter Shiny Emporium? Yeah, it's probably a business name you can totally take seriously. Absolutely. Okay, so we'll go for this. It is conveniently located very close to some of our rails, so we might decide we want to take advantage of that in a little bit. Let's go to the ore industry specifically, and as usual, set down a main building in order to kick this off. So, Dodoinkus, and there we go. Now we have small ore mines, sand storage, and ore grinding mills. Now, I haven't done an ore industry in a while, so what's involved in this one? We take the ore and we can turn it either into metal or into glass. Those two things. Okay, and then eventually that will get turned into some unique luxury resources. Fine, fine, fine. So I guess the only real thing for me to work on then is just go ahead and place down some of these small ore mines. Sure, why not? Sounds great. First things first, let's actually plan out how we want to do some trains. There we go. Something kind of like this should be fine. All right. Not that we're going to be doing a whole lot with our ore at the very beginning of things, but that's probably fine. So, all right. Let's get ourselves some roads going off in this direction. We should have access to plenty of ore in this area. Like, I can make a truly massive industrial area if that's something that I want. We'll start by getting some storage set up right over here, and then does it matter too much where I place it? Yeah, you can kind of see some of these soft spots where I probably wouldn't get as much value, but like over here, for example, no big deal. There you go. Maybe like a couple of these little ore fields over here. So that should be enough to kind of get people going. Now, the one big issue that I'm going to have over here is we don't have anybody kind of living off in this general direction. So I'm probably going to need to start building out some residential neighborhoods out over this way. And being far away from the city, or at least where I anticipate that we are going to be having our metropolitan area, this could be a good candidate to start working on some of the suburbs. Maybe something kind of like this, just to kind of mix things up a little bit. It is nice to break away from the grid once in a while, am I right? Not very space efficient at all, like I kind of hate the look of a lot of this zoning, but at least it's something. Let's go ahead and just start filling in little pieces of the neighborhood as we go. Now, I'm naming this neighborhood the Solbasur Fields, after my supporter Solbasur. Thank you again for your support. And Fields because, well, we're kind of eating up some valuable farmland, so I hope you all appreciate what you guys are getting. As far as some local policies, what else could we do here, though? We could go for schools out. Generally speaking, the citizens would prefer working over education. I think I do want to do that here because if we're going to be having people work in the ore mines, I don't really want to have an extremely educated populace in this area. That wouldn't do me a lot of good, so we'll try to avoid some of that. What else could be useful for me? Recycled plastics? No, that's a city-wide thing. I don't see a point. High-tech housing? Nah, they probably don't deserve that. Filter industrial waste shouldn't be necessary. You know, we could go for some specializations over here in the zone itself. For example, we might want to turn this on to self-sufficient as well and get some more proper green buildings, mainly because it's so far away from the rest of my city that a lot of the services aren't going to be getting over here, such as trash collection, so I'd rather it actually be a little bit more self-sufficient if possible. And then I guess I'm okay with doing some more organic and local produce and stuff like that, just for the fun of it. And if we were to have any industry at all, we'll set this up for farming. I might decide that I want to just branch off and have a couple small farms over here, but nothing that I want to personally manage, right? I think that would make a bit of sense. Oh yeah, and before I end this video, what's something else I always forget about? I think it's the post office stuff. I always forget that these are things that people are asking for these days. It's It's kind of a new-ish feature that was added in, you know, kind of after my time. So we'll go ahead and just add in at least a couple of simple post office sorting centers off in these different directions, and I think people are going to ask for stuff over here. Also, we're starting to see some signs of extra sickness and people being upset about noise pollution. And the two are actually related, believe it or not. If you do have a lot of noise pollution, people are more likely to get sick in the first place. So that's something we're probably going to have to deal with as of the next video. For now, let's just take care of the post. Make sure that everyone's nice and happy and satisfied with this situation. And that at least will improve, I don't know, a few things. And maybe we even go into the city policies and we could turn on free Wi-Fi. What does this cost me? 2 cents per building? That sounds pretty expensive, but if we do this, it reduces mail accumulation by 15%. So I don't know, we could give that a go. But yeah, noise is becoming an increasing issue. We're going to have to try to fix that at some point. There's not a lot of great solutions to this, but we could try to push for things like electric vehicles and certainly plant down a lot more trees to try and absorb some of that noise. We'll come back to that later, though. Thank you all very much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed. If so, I'd ask you to hit that like button, leave a comment, subscribe, hit the notify bell, and I will see you guys next time.